past decade, advertising has become both more and less personal. What does that mean? Well, it's become more personal in that advertisers, agencies, marketers, and tech platforms that serve those ads know more and more about you than ever before. But it's also become less personal in that what used to be a very hands-on, intimate relationship between marketer and publishers has largely been replaced by programmatic advertising, which is basically advertising bought and sold by robots and machines and less humans. And speaking of platforms, over the past 30 to 40 years, massive ecosystems have been built on top of them. One of them is Microsoft's Windows. Another one is Google or Facebook. Now, whereas Microsoft was an ecosystem and platform that was all about selling software, Google and Facebook are ad-based platforms. Certainly you've heard the expression, with great power comes great responsibility. Now, Facebook, Google, advertising, Amazon, and all of these giant companies love the power that they have. But they've yet to truly demonstrate that they understand the responsibility that comes with that power. Now, this is all fine and dandy. Most users came to accept the big bargain and the big trade-off, meaning for free information, you would get advertising, lots of it. And if advertisers and marketers knew more about you, so be it. Until 2016, when everything changed. In 2016, the US elected Donald Trump as president, and that freaked out the leaders of these corporations. You may have seen that infamous video of Google the next day after the election, kind of freaking out about what had happened. Meanwhile, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg said, I quote, "The idea that fake news on Facebook influenced the election in any way is a pretty crazy idea. If you believe that, then I don't think you have internalized the message Trump supporters are trying to send in the election." Okay, the thing is, some of the Trump supporters were also the Russians. So a year later, Mark Zuckerberg clarified what he said by saying, quote, "After the election, I made a comment that I thought the idea misinformation on Facebook changed the outcome of the election was a crazy idea. Calling that crazy was dismissive, and I regret it. To conclude, this is too important an issue to be dismissive." Oops. Naturally, people were looking for scapegoats, and Facebook, frankly, made itself into a very practical, convenient target. Now, remember earlier on we talked about platforms. So Facebook and Google control the flow and distribution of information, all financed by advertising. But these companies are investing their massive war chests into other areas, including artificial intelligence, machine learning. You might see where this is going. At the same time, governments around the world are looking into the possibility of replacing their armies consisting of human beings with robots. You've seen Terminator. When I'm asked, should government intervene to control the distribution and monetization of information and advertising on Facebook and Google, my tendency is to say no. And in fact, when I'm asked, should government intervene to control the development of artificial intelligence and machine learning that's going on at Facebook and Google, which will one day control the armies of tomorrow, well then my answer is hell no, because it's not like the governments around the world have ever shown true consideration for human life. To conclude, I would like to point out that it's not necessarily clear that right now the government is going out and doling out these contracts for Skynet armies of tomorrow to the likes of Facebook or Google. But that's certainly a possibility, directly or indirectly, if Google and Facebook use their massive balance sheets to buy these companies. And in fact, the idea is not that far-fetched to begin with, because Amazon is supplying servers and hosting and many other things to the government. So it's not like there's that many degrees of separation to begin with, or this requires a giant leap of faith. The key thing is to understand the precedent that we're setting and the stakes. If you find that Mark Zuckerberg lacks a moral compass, or you disagree with Jeff Bezos' ethical view of how to treat employees, it's important to understand that the decisions that we make with regards to things like advertising and publishing will no doubt set a precedent when we expand the discussion to things like machine learning, artificial intelligence, and the armies of tomorrow.